Imagine being just 12 years old, hungry, homeless, and invisible to the world, until one act of courage changes everything. A poor black girl saves a millionaire's life, but what he whispers in return leaves her crying in front of everyone. You won't believe what happens next. Before we dive into this powerful and emotional story filled with twists, heartbreak, and justice, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that will shake your soul and make you believe in miracles again. 12-year-old Amara Johnson had never known a day of comfort. Born into the unforgiving streets of Baltimore, she was used to hunger pangs gnawing at her belly and cold winds sneaking into her oversized shoes. Her mother, once a hopeful singer, had vanished after falling into addiction, and her grandmother, the only stable guardian Amara had, passed away in a fire that took their tiny Section 8 apartment with her. Since then, Amara lived in a cardboard fort behind a crumbling library downtown, surviving on expired vending machine snacks and the generosity of a kind old librarian named Miss Ruth. No one noticed her. No one cared until one thunderous night, when the entire city buzzed with chaos. That night, Amara was dragging a soaked blanket over her shoulders, scavenging near the luxury part of the city where sparkling restaurants and valet drivers glittered under golden lights. That's when she saw him, an older white man in a three-piece suit, stumbling out of a sleek black car, clutching his chest and collapsing near the gutter. People walked past him. Some even stepped over him. But Amara didn't hesitate her tiny frame ran to the stranger, who was now gasping, face flushed purple. She screamed for help, but no one stopped. So recalling the CPR video she once saw in her school's health class before she was kicked out for unpaid attendance, she got on her knees and began pressing his chest, over and over. Her fingers trembling, voice cracking as she shouted, "Stay awake, sir." Finally, an off-duty nurse heard the commotion and rushed in, taking over. The ambulance arrived in minutes, and Amara, soaked and shivering, backed away quietly, disappearing before anyone could ask questions. But the man she saved, Thomas Grayson, one of the wealthiest investors in the United States, never forgot those desperate eyes, that determination in the rain. The next morning, the story of a mystery black girl hero broke on the news. As camera footage revealed her identity but not her name, Thomas, once awake, vowed to find her. Meanwhile, Amara went back to her alley, unaware of the storm her actions had triggered. Chapter 2. Thomas Grayson launched a public campaign, $500,000, reward for information leading to the girl who saved his life. But more than money, he wanted answers. Why did this girl help him when others didn't? Who was she? As news anchors debated if she even existed, a jealous city councilman suggested it was staged for media attention, igniting a racist and classist backlash online. Amara, hidden in shadows, watched the news on a cracked TV outside a pawn shop, and finally realized the man she saved was searching for her. Miss Ruth helped her write a letter, explaining everything, and mailed it anonymously. But before Thomas received it, a local gang, the East Side Shadows, found out about the reward and decided to find Amara themselves for a payout. They chased her across rooftops, cornered her near an abandoned warehouse, but the girl had grit. She escaped, badly bruised but breathing. That night, Thomas, emotionally torn and recovering from his surgery, received the letter at his penthouse. The handwriting was shaky. "My name is Amara Johnson. I don't want no reward. I just didn't want you to die." Those words hit him harder than any business deal gone wrong. The next morning, he held a press conference, tearing up as he read her letter live. "We failed this girl. This city failed her. I failed her." His words lit the internet on fire. Meanwhile, Amara was found unconscious behind the library after collapsing from pneumonia. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital, and that's when fate intervened again. Miss Ruth showed the doctors the news broadcast and confirmed who Amara was. Thomas Grayson showed up personally to her hospital room, removed his hat, knelt beside her, and whispered 5 words that made the entire room freeze. "You're coming home with me." Amara burst into tears, sobbing into his coat. Chapter 3. The next few months were a whirlwind. Thomas adopted Amara legally, a move that sparked media debates, racist backlash, but also powerful waves of public support. He enrolled her in one of the finest private schools, where the students initially mocked her tattered past. But one by one, her intelligence and kindness won them over, especially when she aced a national science competition, shocking the judges with a solar-powered water purifier design she'd crafted from trash. Thomas, now her father in every way that mattered, saw in her the daughter he never had. But just as life began to bloom, the shadows of Amara's past returned. A crooked social worker, enraged at losing her grip on the system money Amara used to generate, began a campaign to annul the adoption. She dug into Thomas's financial history, trying to frame it as a publicity stunt. An emergency court hearing was called. Amara took the stand, trembling, staring at a judge who looked like he hadn't smiled in years. "I saved him," she said. "Not because he's rich, but because people walked past him. Like they walked past me. I didn't want anyone else to feel that." The courtroom went silent. Even the judge took off his glasses and wiped his eyes. He slammed the gavel and declared, "Let this child be with the man who sees her worth." Thunderous applause erupted. But the biggest surprise came moments later. Thomas handed Amara a folded paper. Confused, she opened it. It was a birth certificate with her name, but the father listed wasn't unknown. It was Thomas Grayson. He looked into her eyes and said, "Your mother was the woman I loved when I was young. I never knew she had a daughter." Until now. Amara collapsed into his arms. Chapter 4. Everything changed. The world no longer saw Amara as just a street kid. She became a symbol of second chances. Her story inspired books, scholarships, even a law named the Amara Act to support children aging out of the foster system. She stood at galas beside celebrities, but never let go of her roots. She helped rebuild the library that once sheltered her and turned it into a youth center with Miss Ruth as the director. But perhaps the most emotional moment came at a school assembly where Amara was set to give a speech. The entire auditorium packed with children, cameras, and politicians. She stepped up to the podium, took a deep breath, and said, "I was once hungry, hurt, and invisible. But someone whispered to me, 'You're coming home with me.' Those 5 words changed everything. And now I whisper to every child who feels unseen, you matter, you are loved. And you are coming home." The crowd erupted. Thomas stood backstage, hand over his heart, tears in his eyes. He had been a millionaire before, but now with Amara beside him, he was the richest man in the world. And somewhere in the front row, a little girl in ragged clothes looked up, eyes wide with hope, and whispered, "Maybe I can be her too." As the applause echoed and flashbulbs flashed, one thing became clear: Amara's story wasn't just about saving a man's life. It was about saving a nation's conscience, one whisper of love at a time.